Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bigfoot Dogman Research Project. I'm your host, DDoS, also the founder and lead researcher and producer, director, and editor of the entirety of the content that you see here on this channel. Today, as a lot of you know, and I sincerely appreciate the birthday wishes. Yeah, it really meant a lot to me. Because it ended up being a very eye-opening day, very long day. Came to a lot of realizations in this field. I got to talk to Swamp, who was the first one in the chat, actually. I got to talk to Swamp early this morning. You know, it was really, really cool. I won't even put that cool title on there. Can everybody hear me okay? First off. Yes, no, shut down your channel, B. Can everybody hear me okay? God, I hate the delay on this thing. Sweet, thanks, Swamp. All right. So I had the honor, I call it, loosely call it, of talking to Swamp this morning. We had a great conversation. And we haven't talked delete my MySpace. I think I still have a MySpace, actually. But share this link around, because I'm going to be telling on people. There's going to be a show that's not going to be deleted, and you're going to be glad you're here. Glad Lori Murdy's here. I got a chance to talk to her. Great lady. And all right. I started this channel the 27th of Mario AG20 says he doesn't hear anything. Can somebody throw down in the chat for him to refresh his page? Some people they're not as savvy as others with computers and whatnot. Help a brother out. I started this whole thing on YouTube October 27th of last year, rolling up on our anniversary, as it were. But, you know, I started researching before that and was sharing on Facebook. There are a lot of things, and you know, you got some researchers in there in the chat with you. Ohio Sasquatch Contact and Research and Brown Dwarf. Brown Dwarf being one of the most phenomenal ones there is out there. All in all, in this thing, there's a lot of deception coming from the very top. A lot of people know that there is a very good and very big, well-respected, I guess you could call them researchers, radio show. They were taking little pop shots at me when I first started, because I was going into an area that they put on a list as being one of the most scariest, and they could spin their yarns and tell their stories about it, which is all well and fine. But they, you know, adamantly attacked me in the public without provocation, except for the fact that they testified in public that they cannot go into this area, that they were afraid to get out of their vehicles. Then you got some black guy from the country who's a journalist who's wandering through there without a firearm in river bottoms in southern Oklahoma, where there's a hog problem. That's when I first got my taste of it. But see, what these people don't understand, and I'm going to go into all of it, people. I'm going to go into the things that I have not told you for various reasons. The threats, the phone calls that you get. And I think half of it's maybe some hoaxer, but I don't give my number just to everybody. The interference on the phone lines and through Facebook and all this other kind of stuff when you're talking about only this subject and only certain aspects of this subject. There are a lot of people who really want to separate. You know, Mario AG says I should take a gun. You know what? I've been doing this now a year and a half, and this is the first time you hear me say this. I wholeheartedly agree, and that's one thing I am going to do. It's nothing I'm going to rush to do, and it's not for the creatures. But and I'm not talking about I'm talking about natural and unnatural wildlife. But I digress. People, I don't know what it is about me, but for whatever reason, perfect strangers have an innate trust, and they'll show me sensitive things, you know, documents and stuff. correspondence that they've had with researchers who have been doing this a lot longer than me, who have books on this subject. Okay. These people have been shut down, ignored, privately discredited. And they'll turn to me with all this, you know, all the documentation, as it were, of all this. The BFRO, you've heard me talk about, a lot of people have come to me who have sent them their reports. They are adamantly being altered. You understand what I'm saying to you? These people's testimony, when they see these monsters in the woods and they're suffering from basically PTSD from seeing these monsters in the wood, their honest testimony of what they saw is being altered and then presented to the public. Well, a lot of you would say, oh, well, the BFRO does that to keep people from going into the areas and not to know too many details about it. That's bullshit. That's not what it is whatsoever. B.D. Donlin. Some of you may recognize that name. Some of you may not. He was on the level of Wes Germer back in the day. He went down to Sam Houston National Forest with the BFRO. And when he returned, and this is a good guy, Christian guy, honest, well-respected, not controversial whatsoever. When he returned, he said that he was done with the whole thing. And this is the pre-big YouTube days. He was on the talk blogs, and he had his internet blog where he wrote about his experiences, had a very, very big following. Some of you may have followed him. B.D. Donlin. He came back, this credible guy, and said that he was done with it, that he did not feel right, not misleading, but deceiving people. There's problems that the researchers don't tell you about. And see, what led me to all this, I was going to do this show, this 8 hours thing, but then like 3 hours later, I got tired and I was like, the hell with that. You know, I'll talk to him. We can do a call-in show, but it's not going to be 8 hours. But as the day went on, it really weighed heavily on my mind. Okay, I'll put it to you this way. Miss Shannon LeGros, beautiful woman. Beautiful spirit. She's a great lady. She's the only one I've done like a real big interview with. And I adamantly have stuck to that for a reason. She's genuine. Not saying that anybody else isn't, but as I said, Shannon LeGros is genuine. She's been through this stuff before. She's seen these creatures. There are people at the top who I'm sure a lot of you would say, oh, well, they know more than DDoS, this country kid. You know, I'm sure he's brought everything to a grinding halt to do this full time, but blah, blah, blah. Listen, I can hear somebody use 3 paragraphs to describe their encounters with these things and tell you straight up if they're lying. I can look at a map. I don't care where it is in the world, and look at the terrain and the topography and tell you where these creatures could be. And I'm 10 for 10 so far. There's something innate, and it's not anything I don't think that's groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but there is something about this subject that they being whoever, put whatever you label you want on it, the 1%, the deep state, the Illuminati, whatever. There's something that they want hidden. The first time it happened, the phone calls, was when I was interviewing the 2 authors who had this experience with an orb down in the Big Easy, down there in the French Quarter. Chad and Alta. It was the heavy breathing in the phone, weirdo stuff there for a minute. But then as time went on and we started moving into the quantum mechanics aspect of it. And what you guys don't know is you listen to a cool show. We get along real well. I get in there. I cut up with you. I try to give you some information. But what you don't know is you've heard actual physics professors. You've heard people with intimate inside knowledge of one of these alphabet soup agencies. You've heard people who have worked on, what do you call them? Black sites, off the books, military installations. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know why. And it goes back to this. These people trust me with what can be considered sensitive information, I guess. And I wholeheartedly don't abuse that respect at all. I mean, in that trust. But on the other side of the coin, there is I don't think it's organized. I think it's a highly spiritual thing, but there are elements in place that, by, I guess, not so much discrediting, but ignoring, non-acknowledgement of our project over here and the serious nature of some of the stuff we talk about, that they can somehow shut me down and shut me up. That's simply not the case. You bag me into a corner. You've never seen a panther react like I will. All the threats in the world, all the nonsense, all the weird fax machine noises on phone calls, that doesn't scare me one bit. The thing is, whoever is getting nervous because people are starting to think. You guys are starting to wake up. And the part of the real conspiracy behind this is some of you who hear my voice right now. Go back to NASCAR. Help your kids with their homework. You have no business following this. You are the biggest part of the goddamn problem. All you do is criticize and ridicule. And a lot of you don't know the extent of my resources. A lot of you I looked up and I know exactly who and what's behind it. It's time for me to either say, you know what, I'm not playing their games, or play them and beat them. A lot of researchers in the field, they take these pictures and it's almost like playing cards. You know what I mean? Oh, I got Joe DiMaggio. Oh, I got Babe Ruth. Mine's a little bit clearer. I can see an ear and a nose in this one. And I found myself getting into that same trap. That's not what I'm in here for. I don't give a shit about these creatures out there. All right. They could die tomorrow. Every single last one of them. And I'd go back to school and get my bachelor's degree in criminal justice and go back and get another one in criminology and go back up to Carter County, where I came from, and become the DA or the sheriff and buy me a little patch of land out in the country and live happily ever after. The thing about it is, these researchers aren't being exclusively honest with you either. They're not telling you about how a lot of them are pissing blood, how a lot of them are having these weird headaches that nobody can describe, that nobody can really, no doctor can give them a reason why they're having them. The only constant element is they're getting close to these creatures. A lot of these researchers aren't getting close to creatures. They're going to inactive areas and showing you, real stick structures, real things that they've made. It's not just stuff that's fell out of trees. It has symmetry to it. It has some sort of a designed shape, which says behind it is some sort of intelligence. And I hope nobody takes this as being, I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm not scolding anybody, but I got an email today, and it was an email and a message on Facebook. One was good, the good aspects of this thing. And the other one was the ugly, nasty, secretive part of this thing. And it's never some overt threat. It's always somebody coming in friendship, making a suggestion that you basically pipe down, or making the suggestion that, hey, that last piece of footage you put out was pretty good, despite how many people seen it, despite how many thumbs up you got. But just be careful. Make sure it's not too good when you put it out there. If you have, and you've heard people on this show say that, and I'm not downing anybody who has. Me personally, for DeAndre Lamar Doss, I'm not going to look at myself in the mirror when I brush my teeth in the morning and say, you know what? This picture is better than that one, which would help validate this creature to a skeptic. But I'm not going to put it up because I'm afraid of what might happen. To me, that's chicken shit. If you're going to do that, then you can print them out, keep them as playing cards, and show your friends and family. What's the purpose of being in the public to try to validate this creature as being an existing species if you are withholding information to press that forward? That makes no sense. It's asinine. It serves no purpose except the personal purpose. That's where you get the profiteers. Let me tell you something. I looked today, and this is the first time I saw it. Swamp, if he's still listening, he could probably tell you a little bit more about this than I can, because I've never really made any money worth mentioning on this. But I got a message that says, when I, just opening up YouTube on the other computer, said something about how the advertisers might not have found some of my, oh, here it is. If you began to notice your have earned less, it may be because of your videos, and it may be because your videos have been identified as not suitable for all advertisers. And I was like, well, what the hell does that mean? So I went and looked, and like they started demonetizing a lot of my stuff that I've worked really hard on. Just thank God I didn't even, if you remember, because a lot of you have been here with me for a while, I didn't have access to any of the funds that I've earned for like 6 months. So, you know, every trick the devil tries to throw at you, there's a solution for. You know, this project wasn't propelled by monetary gain. So that doesn't really affect me. You know, if this was 1920s, man, I could go down to the soda shop and, you know, go to the juke hall that night and dance all night. Do the Lindy Hop and all that stuff on top of a flagpole. Anyways. So this is what I'm saying. These half-ass fans, and I've seen them on every single researcher's channel. It's always the same handful of people. And you would think like, damn, they're tearing this guy apart. Maybe they just like old Joe Schmo over here instead of Joe Blow over here. You know, maybe they like the way he presents his research a little bit more. No, that's not the case at all. They are in this thing only to ridicule and criticize. Now, a lot of them are just dummies. A lot of them are, I mean, they're the kind of people that are going to feed pigeons and cool, you know, spring breeze blowing in their face and kill over and die from a heart attack. They're just angry, hateful people. You can't do nothing about them. But the other ones, seems like that's their job. The way they write. And thank God I have the knowledge of a writer and can recognize personality and penmanship, it's called. A lot of them are uniformed in their criticisms. They're not really specific to what they're watching, which tells me it's almost like they're just kind of trying to push the whole thing down, this whole field down, into that whole skeptic bucket. And that's where they want to keep it. And I know a lot of you have, and don't take this personally when I say it, but I'm completely disgusted to the point of like boo-booing on myself. Whenever I talk to somebody and they talk, oh, well, did you watch Finding Bigfoot? Did you watch Killing Bigfoot's last episode? Did you watch Mountain Man's Mountain Monsters last episode? I'm like, no, I don't watch no bullshit like that. Why are you watching? Oh, well, it's funny. You know, I know it's fake. And I know that they're making a mockery of this whole subject and making the people who have seen these monsters and that are traumatized by it look like fool. But, you know, it's funny. I get a laugh out of it. Unsubscribe right now. And honestly, you should probably unsubscribe from anybody who's taken any of this seriously. As cool as these stories can be, I understand the entertainment aspect of it. That's why Swamp helped me with the Cryptid files. There's a lot of people who watched what I've done in the editing and everything with the Cryptid files who really knew nothing about cryptids, who stayed on board. They want to learn more. That's what I want. You know, I never cared about the big numbers or the big number of subscribers or whatever. I want people who want to know the truth. And I guarantee you, here in the next couple of days and the couple of weeks coming up, I've never shared any of these screenshots of these handwritten letters to these authors that you know. But I'm going to start name dropping. I don't even care anymore. I'm going to show you the personal correspondence where these people have like flat out maliciously just harassed me. The people who I've respected, who just kind of said basically the same thing, like, you're doing a good job. You got a lot of people behind you. Your channel's growing great. Just slow down a little bit. Just don't tell too much. Don't show too much. You know, it's dangerous to show. That's horse shit. You know, you're crazier than a shithouse duck if you really think I'm going to quit a damn good paying job, put my degree program on hold, go out to those woods, in the process, find God and the Holy Spirit that guides me, and not be 100% honest with these people. I feel bad that I haven't shown them all these personal correspondence where they're heroes, that they come on this channel, say, oh, well, D, you've only done it a year and a half, but this person's been doing it for 50 years. He knows this and that and this. This thing's been around for 70 years, and the biggest piece of evidence out there that they'll show on public television is the Patterson-Gimlin film. Give me a break. You know what? One of my original subscribers, I don't remember if it was Black Eyed Kid or I don't remember. The original 13, I call them. Could have been Shadow Wolf, a lot of people. But one of them called me the Bigfoot Truther. And I got a chuckle out of that. You know, that Truther name comes with a whole different set of things. But you know what? I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to completely reformat this entire channel. I'm going to keep doing, and this happens every now and again. I'll go through these phases where all the stress, and it's not from the stress out there with the creatures. It's the stress of debating, why am I not carrying a gun into the woods and everything that could happen to me. I've argued more at that point than any kind of injury I've ever had or will ever have. Ohio Sasquatch contacting researchers dropped it down in the chat. Exactly what I'm trying to say. They ain't pushing people out. They're pushing the truth out. Okay, let me put it to you this way. And Swamp Dweller, he's not a researcher. He's a voice actor, and he's like, he enjoys the entertainment aspect. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. There's cool stories about Bigfoot. There's entertaining stories about Dogman. That's all well and fine. And I'm not saying that I'm completely dismissing those people. But when you start muddying the waters and you insult a guest that I have on here who had the courage to stand up in front of a crowd, whether they can see their face or not, and tell something that's intimately personal to them and say, oh, well, I didn't like that story. It just wasn't believable. Kiss my ass and hit unsubscribe. I'm done with people like you. I'm done like having good people who actually have courage to reach down deep and talk about something that, I mean, nobody's going to believe them because they're talking about seeing monsters. They find a channel and the bulk of the subscribers are willing to believe, willing to help, willing to reach out past a 2-hour show to help support a brother and a sister. And you know what? I've muddied the waters. This is my fault. I've allowed it to take place because you can go to one of your Big Heroes channels, which right now I'm about to surpass Sasquatch Chronicles channel, their YouTube channel, whatever it is. We have managed to grow this channel almost 4,000 subscribers in a year in this really obscure subject. I am super proud of that. I've put more work in it. There's more videos on this channel than the variety. I'll put it that way. There's more variety of content on this channel than any other Bigfoot or Dogman channel. That's just the truth of the matter. You can talk to half the people that are subscribers. I've probably talked to them personally at some point in time. There's no reason for me to remain humble anymore. There's no reason for me to try to hide that there's people who show me screenshots and I can see their tears on the parchment of the mail that they sent these people because they were so stricken with fear. They don't even get a reply back. And these are the same people. Some of these subscribers are saying, oh, well, you've really got a nerve to call yourself a researcher and your opinion doesn't coincide with Jeff Meldrum's. Your opinion doesn't coincide with David Pallades or whatever that guy's name is. You really call yourself a Christian and you say swear words. Let me tell you something, all right? Yeah, this you know what? Pardon me. This has been a long time coming. I have wanted to shut down this channel so many times just because of the stress of it. Talked to a good friend of mine today. He's one of the people that helped, he flew all the way down here from Colorado, all right? Yeti Spook. A lot of you guys know him. Great guy. He's got this adamant skepticism about him. Really highly intelligent, very successful man. He helped validify my research and just coming down here with that objective attitude and seeing firsthand exactly what I've been telling people, because I have potatoes is what they call them. I get an HD camera and it still has the same anomaly as every other researcher whose evidence you will see. I want you to do a little bit of critical thinking. If you've made it this far, you're going to stick in there with me. And I'm proud of that. I want us to start doing some critical thinking. And the researchers know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's stop listening to all these blabbermouths. Shut me off, for Christ's sakes. Stop listening to me and everybody else. Start looking at the research and start looking at the similarities of such. Before I jumped on here and started talking to you people as being a quote unquote researcher, an enthusiast, or some bum wandering through the woods taking pictures of monsters, Nobody else was making those kind of connections with just boots on the ground, independent researchers. Like, why is Bob over in Germany, who's a Purple Heart recipient, I mean, career military man, super hyper intelligent, ex-minister, has all his mental faculties, all right? Why is he getting all these ghostly and spiritual anomalies? And this also appears in everybody else's stuff, this haze. Why does it look like there's a face on a tree? Oh, well, no, that's just, what's the word that they use? That CIA op word, pareidolia. Folks, look up the definition of pareidolia. Go to Google, WizKid, go to Google and look up the Google images of it. You're going to see clouds that look like sailboats and smiley faces, frowny faces. You're not going to see blinking eyes and moving mouths floating in midair. That's just not that's just not what it is. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But you haven't been told this before. I've not heard this stuff. Well, don't you watch Dogman Encounters with Vic Cundiff? He doesn't get into any of the backbiting, petty jealousy, rivalries. He's all business. Most people DGAF, which for most of our older and younger listeners, the younger listeners aren't supposed to be on here. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. DGAF means don't give a 4-letter expletive about all the childish he said, she said nonsense. No, I do not listen to Vic Cundiff because why? I'm a researcher, dude. I bust my ass in the field with boots on the ground. Why am I going to listen to somebody who's collecting information from people who are doing something or experiencing something that he hasn't? I believe he's had one Dogman encounter. I'm not saying it's disrespectful in a disrespectful way. He's all business. You're absolutely right about that. I'm trying to open people's eyes to the world that we all live in. White Tony, if that makes any kind of sense. You know, and I hope his business acumen and his business regimen make him very successful, because not knowing him, not having any personal contact with him, you know, I don't have anything against him, except that like he has this whole, you know, sit back in the counselor's chair type thing. But, you know, I can't listen to a show when I can open up an email, bro, and talk to people on my telephone and hear the emotion in their voice. You know what I'm saying? It's White Tony for anybody who's listening after. He said, sorry, man, I was replying to another comment here. I like your content and respect your work. I hope I didn't come off as disrespectful in saying that, dude. That's just my voice. God did that to me. What I'm saying is, like, you know, he, in a roundabout way, you're absolutely right. But in a roundabout way, he's part of the problem. He does have a business regimen, and maybe he has a passion for it somehow. But I can guarantee you there's a 19-year-old kid up in New York right now who I personally got to talk to, who's a lot more passionate than that. He got to talk to me for the first time 2 months ago. And I had to choke back a tear, bro. He was saying that he was inspired by the work that I've done and bringing the researchers together and everything that they've shared through this project to go out in the woods himself and see for himself. That's what I've been pushing this whole time. You know, I don't believe me, don't believe another researcher, don't listen to any kind of shows and think that we know. Go see for yourself, because they're seeing things in the same world that we all occupy. But and then, like I said, I got nothing against Vic Cundiff personally. But if I do listen to somebody, just his whole, like, kick back and let the guest filibuster. You know, I'm a conversationalist. I like to talk to the guests, draw stuff out of them. I never have any pre-written questions. I let the flow of the conversation dictate how it goes. And that may be why, you know, some of my produced work does better than my live interviews. But personally, I got to talk to Robert Dotson, Kirk Stokes, the two of the guys who helped me get started. On the back end of things, I got to talk to Scott Carpenter. This opened up a door for me to talk to a lot of people who I respect, you know, and I'm very happy and proud of that. But yeah, anyways, I digress. getting into the big conspiracy, which is not a conspiracy that anybody's orchestrated, any person, you know what I mean? Like, I do believe that there's a very spiritual aspect to this. It took me a good long while, but talking to Swamp today kind of opened my eyes to it. He just goes to the woods because he loves nature. He's a good guy. You know, he's borderline hippie, I call him. But he's noticed a change in the woods. He says it's more spiritual. And if you listen to this show from the very beginning to this one right here, I've always said there's a difference between the physical and the spiritual aspects. Bob and I, Bigfoot in Germany, have done a ridiculous amount of research, prayer research, critical thinking about what is actually going on with this thing. Why is it such an anomalous topic if these things are experiencing a population boom? If you are seeing stuff on national news about this stuff now, what's the deal with it? There has to be something. And I believe it's just like that first episode with me and Kirk that we recorded with my cell phone. There is a physical and spiritual aspect of it. The spiritual aspect is, I think, what they don't really want you to focus on. These physical creatures I don't think they themselves are jumping through portals. I don't think that they themselves, being physical creatures, because I've seen their dookie, I've seen their hair, I've seen where they bed down. And like, you got SP channel in there with you right now. This guy's so smart with this quantum physics and quantum mechanics stuff. It's unreal. He doesn't, I mean, he could care less about Bigfoot until like we got together, we became personal friends. And then he started putting his input from his background, his scientific background and all this stuff into it, you know? But the spiritual aspect, the mist and all this stuff that you see surrounding these creatures when you take pictures of them, somebody somewhere knows what that crap is. And that somebody in that somewhere, wherever they may be, is in a place of some sort of decision-making power. Maybe that's why Mr. Dogman, when he went down there with the BFRO, well-respected, very well-known, he just quit and gave up. Speaking of that, where's Thinker Thunker? Where's Mark Anders? Why, when these guys are well-respected, they just give it up? They didn't like spreading knowledge and bringing people together. I'm telling you, if I'm going to continue this, there needs to be some sort of divide. You're not going to go to another YouTube channel where somebody's covering this subject and you look down in the comment section and see them addressing every single last person who stops by and leaves a comment. Just don't happen. And I mean, maybe it does on somebody's channel and I'm missing it, but nobody's putting any kind of critical thought into what they're saying or what they're doing. All these embellished stories of, oh, well, you know, we were in a pickup truck and I jumped in the bed of it in the nick of time. There was a big janoshko on our tail. And if he hadn't sped up right in time and I jumped in the back of that truck, it would have swiped my head off. And that happened 80 times in a row over the course of 30 years. And I don't have any evidence or pictures to verify that. They're locked up in a vault in Fort Knox. But you got to believe me because I'm old and you've heard me for a long time and I whip these stories into the ground. Okay, so go to those people's channel. I'm not interested in the people who want to listen to that rubbish. There are real people who've had real experiences who want real answers. They don't care to go to some conference and listen to the old school propaganda that they keep pushing. There are people who want to propel this thing further. And the test, the proof's in the pudding. We are within a couple of hundred or maybe 100 of surpassing the official YouTube channel for finding Bigfoot. I mean, this channel that you've helped me build is coming on the heels of all of these old school researchers that don't want to acknowledge any of us, including myself since I built the channel. That doesn't make me mad or sad. I like it. Like I say, I'm the kind of cat you back into a corner. I hope you got a lot of space behind you because I'm going to come out kicking. So like I said, all the weird type phone calls and the veiled threats and all that kind of stuff, I've never addressed it privately nor publicly. But I'm not going to have to. In the next few days and few weeks, I'm going to be spilling all that stuff onto the internet. And you're going to see all your heroes for how they really are behind closed doors. And I'm happy of it. I feel partly responsible for them going this far, because if they can show me thinking that I'm either too weak or some dumb okie or I'm afraid or this, that, or the other thing, I should have done it from Jump Street. But I'm glad I didn't, because I've let them bolster their pride and all that, that just sick, what do you call it, vanity that people build up about themselves with their moderate, internet success, and how they stand on other men's shoulders who want genuine understanding of things they don't understand. Yeah, it's time for a changing of the guard, I believe. I mean, a lot of you probably don't agree with me, which is fine. I love you all the same. And I hope you're along for the ride, because there's a place down here in Texas called Six Flags. And in Six Flags, there is a ride called the Texas Giant. The scary thing about it isn't, that it's got crazy loops or whatever. The scary thing about it is it's the biggest roller coaster in the world that's still completely made of wood. When you're being drug up that steep incline and you hear all those creaks and like the wood sounding like it's splitting and whatnot, that's a whole lot scarier than being upside down for a few seconds. We have gone up that creaky part of the Texas Giant. We're about to come down the part where you throw your hands up in the air and smile and laugh and scream. You guys can feel it, because I've talked to a lot of you personally. There's a change taking place out there. There is a very spiritual nature to this thing that nobody wants to acknowledge. Just like, the biblical aspects of it. People want to jump on the Nephilim thing. The Bible never explicitly says what a Nephilim is. I don't think the King James actually says Nephilim. It talks about giants, the men of renown. Men of renown puts me in the mind of like a Hercules or an Achilles. That's neither here nor there. And it goes back and it incorporates all of it. I was going to do the conspiracy show and talk about all of it. How in 2014, when they started announcing the flat Earth theory, that was on the heels of Michio Kaku, I believe the guy's name is, really highly respected scientist, and a bunch of other ones who were in a documentary about the help me out here. If Lori Murdy's in here, she can help me out. The geocentric Earth model. How people used to believe Earth was the center of the universe. The flat Earth thing came on the heels of that. I am proud of the fact that these flat earthers are looking to the Bible for truth, but also people who aren't flat earthers and people who are. You can go down the comment section of anybody's channel who's talking about the subject. They're in there cussing each other out, calling each other stupid, all this other kind of stuff. How are you going to look to the Bible for any kind of knowledge and go against all of its teachings to put that knowledge above another man? If that makes any kind of sense. DD Keys 888. That's the true number of God. New beginnings, new beginnings, new beginnings. Goliath, he says. Okay. I think he's talking to somebody else. I just thought he was just throwing Goliath in there. SP Channel says, don't get me wrong, bullying is bad, but you can't make a 6-year-old feel like a hardened criminal for bullying. Yeah, you can. You can make a 6-year-old feel like the piece of crap he's going to turn into if he doesn't stop bullying. Once you start putting yourselves above other people, like all these, and I didn't even want to get into the biblical aspect of it, but I guess this is the to hell with it show. The flat earthers, I see more of them being more open than people who aren't and call themselves Christians, calling these people stupid. Like I said, they're looking in the Bible for that truth. It may not be true. Honestly, I don't know. It probably isn't, but who cares? They're at least opening their hearts to the scripture. I just don't want either side of the party to lose focus on what that scripture is really all about. It's not some roadmap to learn about secrets of the world. And I had some big thing for that. I'm watching chat's going wild. Um, Terry Jones, people just stuck in their ways and just ignorance was going on in life. They say so. Busy talking shit to people to realize what's really going on. Amen, Terry Jones. That's exactly what I'm saying in like a whole lot more words. People are so set in their ways and so comfortable and so just content with how things were going in this quote unquote community. You know, they got all these sycophantic suck ups who buy their t-shirts with their ugly faces on them. And so they're at these conferences signing autographs and they're not giving them any kind of further knowledge in this thing whatsoever. It disgusts me. It disgusts me when I have to come home and have Mrs. BDRP and my little girl pull ticks off my back from being out there all day just to give you 30 minutes of knowledge that I've learned. When these guys, like Jeff Meldrum, for instance, who's never even seen one, who's basing all his knowledge off of partial footprints, who's also got some sort of a patent on Bigfoot footprints. So if you find one and you want to sell a copy of it, he's getting a taste. But that's neither here nor there. And that's, I don't have any kind of documentation to show you that adamantly, but I've heard it from different parties that don't have anything else to go together. I'm sorry, they don't have anything to do with each other, these different parties that told me that. So that's what I would call corroborating evidence. And I'm not down on the man. It's just personally, I think that he's hurting this subject more than... Listen, if a Jeff Meldrum or Mr. Pallades or anybody wants to come down to Southern Oklahoma, I'd be more than happy to take them in there. They can carry a gun if it makes them feel more comfortable. And we'll take a little stroll through the brush. And I'd sit back. I'd take a back seat. You've never heard me. I'd take a back seat to these people. And they can show me with all their scientific knowledge how it's done. Ohio Sasquatch Contact and Research. I'm a flat earther just because I can't see it for myself, and it makes more sense to my mind, to my simple mind. You know what, dude? I've never been so comfortable in my entire life saying I don't know. I'm like you. I've never been out of the I've never flew past the stratosphere to get a good look at Earth, and I damn sure don't believe a bunch of esoteric, occultic scientists, which you think I'm just talking a bunch of crap. You trace it back. Paul called it science falsely, or science falsely so-called. He said that for a reason, I think. A lot of these scientific practices got their start in, what is that? The changing alchemy, where, you know, it's not, alchemy is more than people trying to change base metals into gold. You look up the real meaning of alchemy and you look up all the scientific achievements that spawn from alchemy, all the medical advancements that spawn from alchemy. And you look at what alchemy really is. You know what I mean? Like if you want to see the fruit of a tree, you find that root. And then, like you say, most of these, and I'm not talking down on any kind of collegiate. Look, I have a degree in journalism, and in the bachelor's program that I quit for criminal justice. So I'm not like anti-intellectual or anything. I'm anti-bullshit. And that's all that seems to be. You know what I mean? Like, and I've kept my mouth shut about it, and I've danced around the subject for too long, and this channel's growing exponentially. I've worked really hard, and I've been really, really well blessed with, I don't care what your religion is. I've been blessed with good, open-minded people who have discernment and critical thinking. That's what I want. And that's what this subject needs. It's a damn shame. Like, you know, you got Patterson and Gimlin, people still debating over that footage, but that's what's on the History Channel to prove that this thing could be true. I got to guess why government agencies would cover these creatures up. People are so irrational. Small example, the BS where all those idiots were freaking out about the sauce at McDonald's. How would they? Jay Coop, thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. They're laughing at us, Jay. Like, why would they need to cover up anything? We are idiots. And the spirit world, it's not as stupid as they are, as we are as a people. You know, the spirit world, this aspect of it, though, the mist that's over these physical creatures that seems to be protecting them, that seems to be shielding and covering them from cameras. I've seen footage. Seattle Sasquatch, he doesn't talk very much in public. He lets his evidence do his talking for him. That's why I'm always pushing his channel for. Brown Dwarf's another one. You've got what looks to be, and this is when I was completely anti-portal. Anything that I didn't see down here in the woods in North Texas or Southern Oklahoma, I was like, that's a camera anomaly. You know what I mean? Or I'll never call anybody a liar. You can have a 4-minute conversation with me and I can tell you if you're a liar in general. You know what I mean? Like mama calls it country dumb. Don't let anybody see how intelligent you are, because if they think you're dumb, they'll say the truth to your face when they normally hide it. They tell you more of themselves, because arrogance and ignorance go hand in hand. At least I've found to be true. So if they think they're just talking to some dumb old country boy from Southern Oklahoma who's wandering around the woods with a camera, reading science books that he don't understand, trying to piece things together, yeah, they're going to say some things that they normally wouldn't say to one of their peers. Country dumb. But at any rate, man, y'all are really going now. I'm sorry I can't keep up with chat. Like, this is what I enjoy. I enjoy that interaction. It doesn't have to be a guest. I don't have to be talking about something specific, but this is something I want to talk about. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you folks. Like, all of it is stressful. Like I said, yesterday was my birthday. It's a really stressful day. Started off beautiful. The Lord gave me the weather that I enjoy having in any time. You know what I'm saying? Nice, cool 50 degrees when I got up this morning before the sun came up. Kids got on the bus. I took Mrs. BDRP to work, came back, no clouds in the sky, just beautiful, beautiful beyond comparison any other day this year. And it was all downhill from there. The devil walketh to and fro on the earth and up and down in it, seeking whom he may devour. Brown Dwarf says, D, Seattle's latest was heavy. I ain't got to check it out, bro. Honestly, I just woke up not too long ago. SP Channel says, I feel like the giants were wiped out, and if they do come back, it will be some biblical event. They won't just show up at random, I wouldn't think. And SP Channel, he's a Bible believing Christian too. I mean, I hope I ain't telling tales out of school, but he reads that book. He doesn't just go and put on a suit and show up in some building with a cross on the steeple and call himself a Christian. He reads the Bible. And that's why, when people come at me, oh, well, the book of Enoch says this, and the book of Jasher, and the book of Jubilees, and this one and that one and this one, that's all well and fine. A lot of great men, including Jesus, referred back to the book of Enoch in the Bible. I'm going to look at that. I'll observe it. I'll compare it to biblical scripture. But if you're going to come to me talking about something in the Bible and God's will, I'm going to stick with those 66 books, bar none, period. And you can reference back within the Bible itself. There's no mistakes in it. That's what they call it, the infallible text. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but email me after the show. Point out to me a mistake in the Bible. There's been more, we're talking about science world. There's been more architects and archaeologists. They're our friends. They're Christians' friends. There's been more architects and archaeologists that have acknowledged biblical scripts than anything. Accidentally, they're not out there trying to disprove anything. Like King David. Oh well, King David. There was no tribe. There was no kingdom of Israel. King David. It was a made up character in a book. And the tribe of Israel was just wandering around in the desert and they end up dying off. It was just a group of people. Period. Lo and behold, these archaeologists dig up this tomb. Within this tomb was the remains of a man who had pinky rings, like, Vito Corleone. Guess what those pinky rings said? Guess what king that was? So like I said, I didn't understand that. And I think maybe that's part of it. Going to Christian school, going to church and all this kind of stuff, but not understanding the literal spiritual nature of the quote unquote religion that I said I belonged to, until I started encountering what people call poltergeist activity in my home, which I know now is demonic activity. There's no doubt in my mind. Until I started experiencing that, and I hit my knees for the first time as a man or first time as a human being out of fear. And I cried out to Jesus Christ. I mean, these shadow entities, folks, I don't talk about it a lot, but these shadow people were calling them. You know, I was going to school full time during the day, working 10 to 12 hours at night on an 80-mile round trip in this distribution center, throwing 3 tons of freight a night. And I was falling. I could set my watch into the frequency as I fell into sleep paralysis. And as I was going into sleep paralysis, you know, the fear and the dread that came along with it was enough. But the stuff I was beginning to see, I mean, it was enough to rattle my bones. And the kids talking about seeing these entities coming into the bathroom, pushing their face up against the shower curtains, looking over the shower curtains, kids' overactive imaginations. I could explain it all away. You can't explain away white mist forming and dissipating right in front of you when you're just watching TV with your old lady, or pictures rocking back and forth on the wall that don't stop until you put your hand on it with no force to make that happen. So anyways, and I'm not trying to push anything on anybody, but if you want that peace, and I don't know if it's just an individual thing, I don't know how it works. I was just like old Meldrum. I read books and thought I was better than people because of my knowledge. When I hit my knees out of fear and I cried out to the Lord Jesus Christ, to give me the understanding and the power in my soul to protect my family from whatever this was, it sounds crazy, but when I opened my eyes, things were just a little bit different. The light was a little bit different. It hasn't been the same since. And that's the only way I can describe. And that's when I started looking at the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost. It was a positive and peaceful, supernatural experience. It took the fear and the pressure and everything away. And that was the end of it. I still left. Don't get me wrong. I spent $1,000 to get us the hell out of this house. Like, and put us up in suites. We were all in school at the time, every last one of us, and working on top of that, but I'm telling you, when I opened my eyes after praying, it was just an overwhelming sense of peace, and my eyes were open. And lo and behold, a month after that, or within that same month, I had my first sighting of one of these things, one of these physical creatures. And I didn't press that issue because I'm a constitutionalist, and me having a public platform, that's just the kind of person I am. I'm not a bully. I despise bullies. But having a public platform and speaking of your religion, you see a lot of people with Bigfoot channels and researchers and a lot of different places all over do it. But if I believe the Constitution, I'd be inadvertently being a bully by doing that, because not everyone has that public platform to do that. Finally I said piss on it. That peace that I had was taken away because I'm telling the truth. Walking out there, and a ton of people have seen it. No weapons. And they see, when the Biscardis came down, they were like, you're not going to, wear any kind of snake boots or anything. I'm like, nah, I'm not worried about it. And I'm genuinely not. I take it that they feel vibrations in the ground. They're going to move out of your way. I'm trampling through brush and whatnot. But telling people that all they have to do is have that courage in their heart and the right mind. That's a part of it. But personally, from the very beginning of this until I decide to stop, I've never had a feeling that I was out there alone, seeing all these weird creatures. I've never had that feeling. I feel like I'm protected on all sides, and I know that I am. And I do not listen. There's a lot of people, and they may be right. People talking about, you shouldn't go out there with you should go out there alone, and you shouldn't go out there without a firearm and whatnot. But as I said before, I'm not a religious person, believe it or not, but the faith that I subscribe to in this book, it tells me 365 times some form of do not be afraid, enough for every day of the year. That's what I put my faith in. That's what I believe. And that's what I believe has been propelling me. Zal says, I've seen so many theories, that Bigfoot and Dogman and other related creatures are alien, supernatural in nature. Zal, you're right. And I thought that was hogwash. I figured just like, believe me, if you could turn back the clock 6 years and I was in the same position, you start talking to me about the spiritual nature of this and that, I'd cuss you out to your face. I'd say, you know what? You're a fool. Look at the world around you. We don't see ghosts and goblins every single day. When I was 15 years old, my mom passed away. Dad's an old military man. I was as tall as he was. He looked at me as a man, went on about his business. I stayed in a 75-year-old house when I was 15. It was haunted as shit. All sorts of crazy stuff going on in there. But there's that part of you that don't want to acknowledge that. You want to rationalize. So I understand it in a way. But there has been some sort of an uptake. People want to say, oh, well, it's the internet and people are more connected now. So people who didn't have a way to share all this stuff before have a way to share it now because of, the open nature of the internet. I believe that to be hogwash. I mean, the internet's been around for a while. I believe that they would tell someone would pick it up just because it's interesting. That's where the entertainment aspect comes into it. But just because, we get a chill on the back of our neck listening to some scary thing that somebody's had happen to them, and we pull the covers up and sleep with the light on, that don't mean that just exists on the internet in some story form. There's a lot of this stuff out here. And you folks, everybody in this chat's been with me for a very long time. I'm not crazy. But that whole other aspect seems to be kind of building up. I talked to Bigfoot in Germany yesterday, and I hope I'm not telling tales out of school yet again. But he's got what I would call 5 alphas in his area, 5 abnormally big creatures. And they all occupy a very, very small space. And that's strange, but he says now they occupy an even smaller space and they've moved away from the area where he's been filming them. And he's not going out there with the, the $300 Sony, flip cam that I have, HD and everything. He's going out there with professional filming equipment they use for news stations. All right. He's got the real deal Holyfield. Where he's getting this spiritual stuff, these entities, the physical ones, have began to separate themselves from that. They've begun to move away from that stuff. When he told me that, it really got me thinking. And folks, that's why on the same channel that you're listening to me right now, that's why I do the CERN specials. Well, I'll spend, sometimes a week, 2 weeks, just looking up material and basically putting it together like a puzzle, putting those badass 9-inch nails over it. I really want you folks to see that it's not just Bigfoot and Dogman. It's not just some entertaining or scary story, that this stuff is out there. And if you're really trying to come at it with the knowledge of Oppenheimer and Einstein and, some sort of background in literary knowledge and all that kind of stuff, stay with the internet. Don't go out there to those woods. The conspiracy is us. We have conspired to remain ignorant as a people. That is the real conspiracy. The conspiracy is man. We have blinded ourselves with things that do not matter. Somebody talks about a flag that was put up to be the American flag at one point in time. All of a sudden, they're taking TV shows off the air that include that flag because people's feelings are hurt. We have police officers, the people that protect us while we are asleep, being murdered based off of some inaccurate propaganda that they're putting on TV to rile people up. Oh, and on top of that, there's monsters in the woods. Have a good night. I mean, this is the world we live in, whether we want to believe it or not. It's not just out there in the woods. Have you ever heard of a drug called Flocka? And I didn't say Waka Waka. I'm not talking about the Muppet Babies. These kids call it Flocka. If you haven't heard or seen this after this, or open up another window, look it up. Just look up people on Flocka. These people, folks, are demon possessed. They have pharmakia, also in the Bible. Pharmakia is where we get the word pharmacy. Pharmakia, and listen, I'm not saying anything about pharmacies and legal drugs being witchcraft, but pharmakia, the ingestion of drugs, is a type of witchcraft that the Bible speaks of. Now you look up Flocka and you see these people and you hear these police officers, 20-year veterans, ex-athletes, talking about how they got in some sort of physical altercation, broke one of these guys' jaws, and this guy kept fighting. I wish I remembered the gentleman's name. He never really explicitly said what state he was in, but it's in a state where marijuana is legal. He's saying that there's an epidemic with this Flocka stuff. All right. This guy's an ex-Olympic athlete. He was a power lifter. You know what I'm saying? This guy isn't weak. He was forced into a physical altercation with one of these people in this, and he broke his jaw. Badly broke his jaw. The guy kept fighting. He hit him with the taser. He pulled those prongs out of his chest like it was nothing and kept fighting. It took 6 police officers, including the first one, who I remind you, like I said, is an Olympic athlete. Now that goes beyond physicality of man. And to me, and this is just my opinion, that moves into the spiritual realm. And I just gave you that to give you a comparison. And I see a lot of people are agreeing with what I'm saying. If you can agree with that, just think about that in its pure form. I don't know why it is or how it is, but that stuff's out there. And I mean, if you want to get into the whole Nephilim thing, I don't know what Bigfoot is. I don't know if DNA, what's all that? What can that tell us? Like Mr. Dodson, when he came on, he really pointed out to me what I was privately thinking, that the whole DNA study was put forth by the same people who did the Olympia project. And if you've seen what they were trying to show on national TV as being the first clear-cut views of Bigfoot, that was a damn Chewbacca mask. People who aren't even into this thing saw that and they were like, wait a minute, I've seen that face somewhere before. It's a Chewbacca mask. The other one looked like a rug. And it's supposed to be, what do they call her? Lucy or Betty or Beatrix. I don't know. It don't matter. I don't know. Like I said, the point of this entire thing is there's going to have to be, at some point in time, with me including you guys, what do we want to get from this subject? Honestly, what I want to get is honesty, truth, and to spread that knowledge to my brothers and sisters. And damn the consequences. Nobody's going to scare me off with some petty little Girl Scout threats or some veiled nonsense. And even the people that I've looked up to that I'm disappointed in because for whatever reason, they want to be involved in this subject. They want people who are young in this whole thing and who respect them to get to a point where they can actually talk to them and tell them that, oh, well, don't put out the good stuff. Don't make sure it's not too clear. That's madness. My uncle tripped in the woods and was mistaken as a dying boar. Thank you, Swamp Dollar, for that injection of levity. I guess somebody didn't like the DNA comment. That's our first thumbs down. I mean, honestly, you can all hit thumbs down for all I care. I'm just getting this stuff off my chest. And it's a lot. Like I knew if I was going to be 100% honest with you folks, I was going to lose some people because, yeah, you're used to, me being friendly, and which I still am. But sometimes the truth hurts. And the further we get into this thing, the more people get involved, because I guarantee you this isn't going to chase off researchers. Researchers are still going to come here and they're still going to tell you what they experience, because there are people who are building up that same type of courage. There are people who don't care about these people at the top who want to keep this knowledge from us, who are out there in, Bohemian Grove, hugging redwoods and dancing around, holding hands naked and eating dookie and whatever else kind of esoteric, occultic nonsense they do. Their day is coming. They can feel it probably more than we can because they're on the losing side. Leanne Commons, he said, that's why I always avoided legal drugs or the misuse of prescription drugs. And that's exactly right. You know, there's brothers and sisters who aren't that lucky, you know, whatever circumstances. If you really want to know what's going on as far as the spiritual nature of anything, you talk to an ex-drug addict who's born again. You talk to them and you ask them what they've seen through their trials and tribulations, what they've heard and what they felt, and the peace that they got when they finally came out of it. You talk to them in person. You go to one of these people and you look them in the eyes. There's something, I mean, eyes are the windows of the soul. I wholeheartedly believe that. So, yeah. And sorry, I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking, you know, hey, it's Dee's birthday. He's going to come in here and jump on. And I hope I'm not, I just have that voice. I hope I'm really not coming off as being mad or aggressive, or I'm kind of fed up with nonsense. But we're going to move past that. Like I said, we're nipping on the heels of a lot of these big guys, and they can't ignore us for long. You know, I don't matter in this whole thing. I'm just a guy. I mean, I'm just as significant or insignificant as the next man. The only difference is I've been close to these things multiple times, and I've been sitting back for far too long, biting my tongue with all this information that I've been given freely. So I won't smudge somebody's reputation or somebody's name who wouldn't give a bag of beans for me or this project or any of you, as long as you're buying their books and their merchandise and they can sign autographs for you. And not all of them at the top are like that. I want to throw that out there. Some people are just like us. They are really digging deep and they want to know the truth. But the bulk of them could care less about that, as long as their bank accounts stay active. You'll probably end up with brain cancer because of being so close, being up close so many times. That's another thing. I've said it once before, but I won't say who. But there's a researcher who you've seen on this channel, as well as others, multiple times, who lives in a place that's highly active. Most of the male population of where this researcher is has inoperable brain cancer. Inoperable brain cancer. Meditate on that for a minute. That's highly abnormal, is it not? That's what I'm saying. I'm not on here to tell you some hokey story about, you know, some Indiana Jones adventure I had running from one of these things. That's not my mission. And, you know, Ohio Sasquatch Contact and Research, he calls it, going back to pharmakia, it's called the demon known as addiction. That's why I say we go back into this, going back to that text. We don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. Like I said, going to Christian school and all that, I knew the words, but I didn't understand the implications. I think it's literally what the book is saying. These principalities and powers are different levels of these spiritual creatures, or whatever they are, demons. And, you know, the mistake that, you know, the cartoons that put forth how Satan is the king of hell, the Bible didn't say that at all. It says when the angels came to God to give an account of what they were doing on earth, Satan was among them. This is the book of Job, which says Satan has access to go to and fro between God's throne amongst his angels. This is after the rebellion. Think about that. Like, Revelations talks about the fall of the dragon. I want you to, you know, I've never really started even, I didn't care about piecing all that stuff together. The dragon, Leviathan, the king of what is it? The king of the children of pride. The spirit of the children of disobedience. They're all talking, it's all different titles for the same man. The prince of the powers of the air. That's a really fascinating one. The prince of the powers of the air. If they're talking about powers and principalities in the term or the subject of spiritual beings, the prince of the powers of the air. They're not talking about human beings, folks. They're not talking about Trump or Obama. That book's talking about literal spirit beings. Now, I've come to that conclusion opening that book since all this happened. You don't have to agree with me. That's just something personal that I feel. Jay Coop, who's said a lot of interesting things tonight. I don't understand that people that will say they have clear pictures of these things and say they won't release them because of ridicule, or people will say they're fake. Why not show us? Absolutely, Jay Coop. I've seen you in the chat a couple of times. I don't know a whole lot about you, but I'm just going to guess that you're someone who follows this for the same reason I did. Want to get to the bottom of something that's been going on for a long time. You don't care about some rich assholes at a football game who decide to show disrespect to this country by not saluting the flag that people have lived and bled and died for. You want to know what's going on behind that veil. Same as me. That's a question I asked before and during this. I got the answer to it now. The reason they won't show you these clear pictures, there's two reasons. They either A, don't have them, or B, have them and it'll show that hidden side of this thing. The reason that I think that Mr. Dogman, when he went down there with the BFRO, Sam Houston, being a good, respectable, upright Christian guy, just take the Christian out of it, just being an honest person, decent person. When he came back and just shut down a thing that he had built, that'd be like me. This channel's had moderate success. I'm not talking about monetary success. I'm talking about just the growth and the like to dislike ratio. People seem to enjoy the content and the shows that I put forth in the interviews and whatever. That'd be like if I showed up one day without explanation and say, you know what? I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to deceive. And this is the thing. He said he doesn't want to add to the deception. That's what I've been trying to figure out. What deception is he talking about? Is he talking about the deception of the BFRO? Would that make this guy quit? Would people make him quit? Because I guarantee you he's had to deal with people. I don't think it's me. I think people that I don't too much get along with on this thing, they're having to deal with criticism from people. I believe it to be something more. Whether it be something with the creatures that's deceptive, whether it be something about them that's being hidden, that type of deception, I don't know. I'd like to know. I'd like to find out, though. Let's see what else we got here. Dad gum, y'all are going nuts tonight. Everybody got some. If you have anything like that you'd like to ask or tell me, go ahead, because I'm going to jump off here in a second. And I sincerely appreciate all of you listening. It means a lot to me. I didn't advertise this show as being, it's just one of those spur of the moment things that I was aggravated, and finally it all kind of came to a boiling point. And like I said, Yeti Spook, got to talk to him earlier yesterday morning, and I've seen when he was coming back. I love in the woods with him. Great guy, good mind for it, and his background really shines through when he's in the brush. This guy, I don't think he knows fear. Like I say, me and Tex and Barry Brown's Construction and Yeti Spook, we couldn't have grown up as kids together. We'd have been put in some sort of institution or something. None of us really have any kind of real due caution. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that looks scary. Let's go that way and see what it is. I'm trying to go back up because you guys have put a lot. Ohio Sasquatch Contact and Research, they're ushering it in with their actions and worshiping Satan. All indications can validate that. The young woman who was actually, for whatever reason, I think women were allowed in there, but there's a club, quote unquote, called Skull and Bones at Yale University, the number 322. A lot of decision makers in Washington, D.C. who have gone to Yale has belonged to this, one of these esoteric secret societies. A lot of people say the CIA spawned from members of the 322, Skull and Bones. And I'm not going to go into the rituals of it. I know that this ain't church, and I got a dirty mouth, but I mean, some of this stuff, do your own research on it. It's pretty sick. And these people are in power right now. Makes you think somebody who would do some sick shit behind closed doors to be a part of some exclusive little group or club that somehow get in positions of power. Where did that stop? Where did the maturity, if you want to call it that, come in? They say, oh, well, I'm glad all that weird stuff's over. Now I can be a real human being and run the country. Yeah, I don't think it happens that way. Especially if they're on TV saying that, oh, we keep a secret. We can't tell you what it was all about. We can't tell you what the agenda is. They just approved a widening of the highway with guard towers on all sides. Look it up. Yvonne Griffith, what highway? What? I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Another thing, if you want to look up, Agenda 21, they would love, our paymasters at the very top would love some cataclysmic, worldwide, terrible event to take place. Something that they can usher in. And a lot of people say it's crazy. It's crazy that even if they try to attempt it, I think. So there's going to have to be some cataclysmic extinction level event for them to usher forth some sort of a nationwide martial law. But folks, look at Paris, France, the terrorist attacks that happened there. Find newscasts that happened after that, post terrorist attack. They have military units walking up and down the streets, curfews. And this is Paris, France. This isn't, Hey Boy from Hey Boy Corner telling you about some town in Oklahoma with a population of 30. This is Paris. They have the same type of freedoms that we do. And a military force telling them when they can go, where they can go, when they need to be home, when they can come back out of their homes. But see, you can't compare a government and the laws that govern that particular government with its people. And we got some subscribers and friends in France. I'm not talking down on them. But us Americans, I don't care what color they are. If you're a real God-fearing, flag waving American, you have that spirit of rebellion in you. And I don't see this happening in this country. And folks saying, oh, well, I guess it's for the best. We might as well just pack up and go on to the FEMA camps, so they can protect us. I don't see it going down that way. And you've heard, my scenario of if, Lord forbid, something like that were to happen, these things that watch us from the tree line when they have 1,000 acres of deep brush behind them, what would they do? That's just a possibility. I always feel like a negative Nancy going into that because there is a positive aspect of it. Maybe the ones that are left, the ones that rebel and decide to stay in rural areas, maybe these creatures who seem to be opening themselves up to a handful of people, showing themselves to people, I don't know, who knows? Maybe the real forest friends will shine through. I mean, I don't know. All I can do is take wild ass guesses, try to put logic to them. And that's all anybody else does, by the way. Let's see what else we got here. Bigfoot in Germany. I guess he's heard of that. The highway thing. Dick Richards. The man who's been telling me from day one that they're demons. Keep up the great work, man. I love the channel and the content and the honesty. Wish you much success, bro. Thank you, J. Coop. I'm not really, honestly, I don't think I'll be allowed too much success because I don't walk in fear and I'm damn sure not intimidated by anybody at the top. So I'm going to continue to be ignored as just being, we're the island of misfit toys. But, we are also the people who are thinking objectively and actually looking at the evidence and taking our critical thinking to a level that meets the evidence instead of, the other way around. You don't project your thoughts onto what you see. You see and then analyze and discern what's there. And there's been too much of these people who like Jay Coop said, they're not showing evidence to begin with. They're just talking, and they probably talk better than what I do. And, they have a bigger following. And I've had a lot of people, my brothers and sisters of many different colors, say, D, do you think race plays a part in it? No. I think that Dick Richards could be on here going through the same thing that I went through. And he's a Canadian Caucasian man. Sound like a Scotsman to me, but that's my brother. I love him. I think he could be on here. I think Brown Dwarf, anybody of any color or any background could be on here and be telling the truth, and they'd be suppressed because, like you say, nobody wants. And I don't know what's going on with these creatures, but I'm going to find out. Thank you, Matt Nevin. That's my brother from down under. He says we can't lose with all the great people contributing to this channel. You're absolutely right, and that's the way I feel. Sometimes with if you could just see the amount of people that contact me, I feel bad because I can't in a timely fashion get to them all. But and I don't know if this is going on with everybody else who's on YouTube or any, what I'm saying, that are in this subject. But to think that so many people, and I'll sneak around on channels, just because you don't see my comments don't mean I don't see them. As a matter of fact, I had a shout out, and it's a brand new channel. They sort of do what I do. Paranormal UK Radio Network. The Paranormal UK United Kingdom Radio Network. It's Paranormal UK Radio Network on YouTube. I like those guys. I like them a lot. I think that their hearts are in the right place and their minds are in the right place. Agreed, D, too much emotion going into it, not enough logic and thought. Even the ones with logic and thought, Dave, they're not letting their good senses as far as being honest and upright lead them. You know what I mean? There comes a time, and honestly, I've been at that crossroads. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was at this crossroads where I could take this channel to an astounding new, where it would make more money than anyways, I've came to this crossroads, but I would have to compromise my integrity to take that road. So I couldn't even really see it. That's not an option for me. People can call me what they want to because of this or that, but what? What is it? Who's this person? I guess Agnes. Can robots actually go into live chats? That was weird. This Agnes is I'm guessing, advertising some porn site. It's probably, we're talking too much truth, so they're going to come and derail. And that's another thing. I want you guys to go to other researchers' channels. This is a piece of homework. Go and look at the comments. You'll have all sorts of people who are supporting this researcher, all sorts of people with their minds in the right spot. And all it takes is one person who's disruptive or rude or indignant. Excuse me. I really didn't mean to do that into the microphone. Just came out. Anyways, you'll find one person who just derails the whole thing. And all these good people who mean well, their focus comes from the truth that they just heard, or the truth they just heard, or the truth they just saw. And it focuses on berating this person for interrupting that truth. And that's another tactic. It's all very, it's psychological warfare. You know what I'm saying? It really is. You don't necessarily have to, these people don't have to acknowledge me. They don't have to downgrade me because of something in my past or something I've said or this or that. All they have to do is sign into a different profile or come under a different name and say something mildly rude. And the good people on the channel are going to be like, hey, asshole, this guy's all right. He's not doing anything to anybody. He's not talking down to anybody. And it doesn't become about the subject matter anymore. Damn me, take me out of the equation. It doesn't become about truth seeking. It becomes about defending and pushing the rubbish out. And that's all you really got to do. Like, just take the attention away from what is. And what is on this channel, no matter what aspect you see it in, is pursuit of truth. So hopefully, you know, if all the people who even listen to this, and also go back and look at the past 30 videos I put up, no matter whether it's produced or not. As in produced, I mean something that I've edited together. You're going to see 1 to 4 dislikes, like clockwork. It's uniformed. That tells me that somebody really has a crush on old DDoS in the wrong way. If you don't like me, I mean, you don't got to listen to me. This ain't CBS. But anyways, all right, I got you. Bigfoot in Germany. He's been trying to get my attention for a while. I'm just seeing it. That's a crazy picture, bro. Man, I'm on my old computer. I don't have the new beast in here. This is the old this is the old one that I started on with Windows XP. That's some wicked looking stuff though, man. Like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can. And this goes in that whole spiritual thing. Like, he has a Sasquatch in frame, all this weird, I mean, glowing white eyes. Something looks like it has 3 fingers with its hand on like this other thing's head. So I'm going to try my best to see if I can share that. It's just an example of what I'm talking about. And I forgot who asked. It's like, why do these people talk about this stuff and they don't show? That's a lot of the reason too, because some of the stuff they get has a lot of this type of stuff in it. And if they want to keep, you know, a certain crowd who follows this thing, they have to take the focus off of this whole aspect, the whole spiritual aspect. There's a lot of stuff in there, bro. I don't know if you guys can see that. I wish I had the editor to lighten it up because it is kind of hard to see. But he focused in on it for us. Excuse me. Let me get back over here, see if you can even see what I'm talking about. All right. This is a 12-footer that you're looking at. Bigfoot Germany's in the chat right now. If you could walk us through it. There's a flesh and, he said there's the flesh and blood with the spiritual stuff. And it looks like they're communicating back and forth. He has the actual video on his channel. See, if I had my editing equipment, I mean, it'd be no problem whatsoever to like just kind of clean that up so you could see it better. Or not clean it up, but what's the word? Sharpen it. Because I do know that there are skeptics out there that really want to see this stuff, but you almost have to train your eye to see it. Let's see here. Uh-oh. This thing's acting weird. Whoops. Now, folks, this is what I mean by pareidolia. And this is why I say I don't believe in it. No matter how the sharpness level is on this. You can see 2 white glowing eyes, mouth, the hand. If you look here, and look at the coloration in the rest of the picture. This is another way to do it. You can see the discoloration from everything else that's in frame. Work your way down from that and look for the symmetry. It's a weird picture, dude. I mean, kind of uncomfortable even looking at it. All sorts of faces in there. See, this is kind of stuff that's written off as pareidolia. And a lot of researchers, you know, and I can understand it in a way, especially ones that's been doing it a whole lot longer than me. I get stressed out with it too. But they say, because you get the hecklers that'll come along that aren't a part of any kind of shadowy conspiracy to do anything. They just can't see it, and they're, you know, rude in telling people. But to they'll tell them straight up, like, this ain't nothing but a bunch of leaves and blurry pictures and this, that, and the other thing. You're an idiot. Stay out of those woods. What the hell's this over here? What the hell? Now you do see this, right? Like, look at those ears. I'm seeing an ears, an eye. That looks to be teeth. A branch in front of his face. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I've looked at it way too many. Uh-oh, there we go. I'm gonna jump back over here with y'all. Tell me if I'm crazy. And I'll go check myself in the rolling hills tonight and eat my cup of pills and watch cartoons for the rest of my life. Let's see, what do we got here? Very odd indeed. And you're right, Bigfoot in Germany. Yeah, I want to get him on here with us before. And it works into the theory. It's like 5 or 6 people contributing to it, all of whom are probably 10 times smarter than me. But 45 other creatures. So there's 6 to 7 in this photo. Bigfoot in Germany. Your brain is just better at recognizing patterns. Randall the Vandal may be right. Like, and a lot of people with military training who get into this thing, I believe that's why they're so good at, and especially what he did in the military. He can recognize patterns where people see none. But I wasn't in the military. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're going to get him on here and begin to roll out this, I guess you can call it a stasis, or not stasis, but a thesis statement, whatever it's called. I don't know. It's 4:39 a.m. here. But at any rate, I think I saw Johnny 22. Chad just caught up and went away real fast. I've seen Johnny sneak in here, though. What's up, man? If it was you, start moving at the speed of light there for a second. So I don't know. What else have you guys got for me? We love you too, Yvonne Griffith. I sincerely appreciate that. Yeah, like Bigfoot in Germany said, weird ethereal crap. I think that's what I'll refer to it as, because everybody sees that and they say, well, it's demonic spirits. It's the Nephilim, the spirit, the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. They're this, they're that. Honestly, I can't say with 100% certainty what that crap is, ghosts or whatever. It's weird ethereal crap. And it seems to have some sort of weird connection to the physical ones. I still don't think the physical ones are necessarily aware of their presence, but, there's a lot of pictures like Bigfoot in Germany's where it looks like they're looking straight at each other. And before I jump back in the chat one last time and see what else you got for me, there's a researcher, and I haven't said his name publicly. I really admire the guy. He's doing good work. He sent me a video, and this researcher on his main channel, he has all sorts of weird stuff. He has not released this particular video to the public. And I know he listens to my shows, and I know he's probably going to listen to this one. And I've asked him before, but he's not really said anything. I really want to show people this. So I think they need to see it. And folks, this isn't some blurry, could be this, could be that type of stuff. This video in particular is, and I know somebody's going to harangue me about it, but it's not mine to go into detail about. I was entrusted with it and only show it to people that I do trust personally myself. They can keep their mouths shut. And that's what I've done. But it would give the general, it would let everybody know what's really out there and what's possibly at stake if we keep our ignorance up. It's definitive in that way. And the more time goes on, the more, I'm seeing how people who have some sort of basically political sway in the subject kind of lean they're steering things. They're steering the subject and in steering the subject and the positions they're in, they're steering people's perceptions. And I don't like that kind of stuff. It's deceptive. It's misleading. But this one particular piece of footage, we wouldn't even have to talk about it. All you got to do is see it. So I'm gonna ask him again. I'm gonna ask him tomorrow. And I do understand his reluctance. Just know I'll take the heat. I'll be more than happy to. And it'll be released anonymously for no monetization whatsoever. I just want people to see it. I don't want to make money off of it. I mean, I think that's listen, there's some of this stuff on here. Wait, I'm not trying to do this for free, but according to YouTube, the 1920s paychecks that I was making are going to get dwindled down to practically nothing. Oh, well, that just means I have to slow down and get to talk to you as much. But there is some stuff that I think you have to see. That's why when Jay Coop said it, I agree wholeheartedly. If people are going on and they're bragging about these clear pictures they have, which lead them to knowledge that you need and why you need to listen to them, it's not only, ridiculous not to show these pictures. I think it could be potentially dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people who go, we're only 15% of the population who, believe in this stuff, quote unquote. And there's even a less percent than that that's actually seen them. So you get some nice family out there, with no idea that these things exist. They're not going to think Bigfoot or Dogman. They're going to think monsters, demons. I've been trying to get a vid of the creatures here. It's kind of hard. Jamil Ali Hussein. I mean, if you've been trying to send me a video, dude, I haven't checked my email in a few days. Oh, you're in Trinidad, dude? Trinidad and Tobago. Jamil, I'm sorry if you sent me something and I didn't see it, man. I'm always like a week behind, but I do check it, regularly. Like, my personal email is ddos13@gmail.com. And we also have Bigfoot Dogman research @gmail.com. Either one of those. And we'll try to see what you got. And, Trinidad, though, it's another, that's one I've not heard of these creatures being in. This goes to show, man, they're everywhere, literally. Dogman and rake creatures. No, I still have to get it first. Oh, I got you. You're trying to get your hands on it. Well, sneak in the damn window, bro. Listen, don't bother with it if it's some government official or whatever. I don't know how Trinidad works, but if I don't know if you got an uncle or something that works for the government, don't even worry about it. Just send me an email. I haven't seen you before. I'd like to see you back here again. And once you start getting up there, people veil threats, and that's just fear. I don't believe that these people have who've contacted me with this kind of stuff. They don't have any sway whatsoever. But that also don't mean I'm stupid and don't listen to them. You know what I mean? There's a reason these people are telling me this stuff. And if they're not associated with the folks at the top who would like this information kept pushed down, then, they're saying that out of respect. I do take that into consideration as well. But they have to take into consideration that, grew up watching Stone Cold Steve Austin. Anyways, I guess I'm signing off here. Lori Murdy, it was good talking to you the other day. She says it's when I want to be committed. Wait a minute. It's when you want to be committed. I guess I was a mistake. It's when you want to be committed that they say nothing's wrong with you. It stinks. Yeah, no doubt. Like, Randall the Vandal, Dark Waters got seriously harassed by MIB when he got photos. Stick to entertainment, bud. Dude, I'm only entertainment by the definition of the YouTube channel, because they didn't have an option for Badass Okie. So I had to click the entertainment spot. Damn, I'm not worried about some potential, what are those things, like robots or something they're supposed to be? I honestly hope one of the Men in Black show up they take off their glasses and looks like the static of a TV, I'm gonna shoot them right in the face, and I'm gonna drag whatever they're made of into the house, and I'm gonna call every last one of my cousins and my uncles and that are ranking military officers, and I'm gonna say, get your ass down here right now, because one of your ABC buddies just sent one of these robots to my house, and it's going on the evening news, and then we'll get to the truth of the matter. See, that's the thing, though. That like all the I don't fear any of these ABC. Like I say, it goes back to that book. The book that I read says, "Fear the one that can destroy the soul, not the body." And I have the, some would say unfortunate disposition of believing every single last blessed word of that book in my bones. So I don't really fear the men in black or anything. They can kiss my ass. Pardon my language, you older folks and ladies. But dude, if some big people in like old school 50s black attire come here with Will Smith Men in Black shades on, and they start taking them off, and I don't see anything of a human being, I'll put on that country dumb again, smile and nod my head, and 357 round right to the face. But anyways, folks, I love y'all. I'm glad that y'all stuck in here with me. This has probably been the longest rant that I've had. Y'all are great though. And I sincerely, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all, even the ones of y'all that hit thumbs down and that don't like me. I really appreciate that you stuck with me and at least heard a little bit of what I said. And hopefully not the sound and the register of my voice resonates that I'm mad at any particular person or anything. It's just a lot of stuff building up, and I don't like the whole thing. I don't like the thing as a whole, mind you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't like it when people are being misled who genuinely want to know for no other reason than just understanding. That bothers me. It really does. And yeah, like I told Yeti, I'm gonna have to call back and tell him I told him Pogli Pie yesterday. So I said, when he comes down here, that's gonna be my last time into the field. I'd still have the channel and whatnot, still talk to people, but to hell with that. I'm going to start going deeper and getting into the guts and the entrails of not only Brown Springs and the surrounding areas, but I'm going to go to Germany with old Bob over there. I'm going to get up there with Kirk. I'm still going to go and see Shoddy Boy. It's just that self-funding this stuff, that therein lies the trouble. But I believe I was opening up to this for a reason and by a higher source than we can all comprehend. So when I get that feeling that it's time to stop, that's when I'll stop, not out of any kind of anything else. Much love, Brown Dwarf. He's the future. I don't even know where y'all listen to me. Y'all should be watching his footage. Thanks, Bigfoot Memphis. Much love. Ohio Sasquatch Contact and Research. And thank you all for the birthday wishes. It really meant a lot to me. Johnny 2287 twice. There you are, bud. When's the 8-hour show coming on? Man, you know what? I'll tell you what. One day on a weekend, when we got the kids all settled and whatnot, like, we can do an 8-hour show. I'll incorporate all of them. The handful of times that they went out there, I'll let them tell you what they've seen and stuff. Matt Niven, you're right. This is my therapy. I don't believe in therapy either, though, but that's sort of an esoteric practice. I like the people who are therapists, though. They're awesome to talk to. They have a very good perception and grasp on reality and life. Once you start getting into analyzing the mind, the mind's made, or the brain, rather. The brain's made of flesh. The mind's something different. Science has come to that realization as well. What's the mind? What is the part of a human person? Because they've done a brain transplant, I've heard recently. How's that going to turn out? You know what I mean? What makes the person? Is it the brain and all the different parts of the brain, or is it the mind? The mind's completely separate. Larry and Candace Hills, love y'all, though we don't get to see them in here that much, but I'm glad y'all can stop through here. Good people. Y'all are all good people. I'm like I said, even the ones that I, even the ones that I want to give a good cussing to sometimes, like I enjoy that y'all at least listen, and you're basing your criticisms off of what I say or what you see, and instead of what you've heard. You know, honestly, I'm kind of hypnotizing y'all into doing what the channel set up for, you know, critical thinking. And this, I actually talked to Wes Germer on this one. Randall Vandal says someone sent Wes Germer some good evidence and he got harassed bad. I wanted D to know. Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I know that. Believe me, I know firsthand. Like I said, there was some stuff, and I hope that you can discern a lot of what I've told you. Thank you, Heartbreaker Taker, for the birthday wishes. But I hope that what I've said, a little bit of discernment on your part can be told. Like, I've experienced a little bit of that. And this is all going to be on public. This isn't getting deleted. I am sincerely, they know what, the parties that I'm talking about know exactly what I mean. I'm more scared of a spider crawling out from this 90-year-old refurbished piano sitting next to me than I am of some government agency looking to shut me up because they've lied to people for probably since the beginning. That doesn't bother me one single bit. But anyways, y'all are fantastic. Awesome people, not just subscribers. Yeah, and I have to have my spiritual counseling now with Bigfoot in Germany. I'll tell you another tale out of school. He's a deliverance minister. He's actually seen these things inside of people, and with the help of other brothers and sisters that are in the spirit, remove them and cleanse their house, and the rest is on them. But you know, when you get into that, when you get into this stuff, and I really want to start talking to some of the researchers, take a little break, and you know, put boots on the ground in a different way, and really start talking about that aspect of things. You know, because you can give implied permission and get one of these things attached to you, and they get in your life, and you know, it makes it hard on you, where it's usually peace and serenity. When that peace is all of a sudden taken away and you're sitting back with your wife or your husband and saying, what's going on? It's just a feeling in the air, this pressure, you know, we're arguing for no reason at all, things we don't care about. What's going on? Start looking a little bit deeper. Stop using your brain, start using your mind on that kind of stuff, and you might get to the answer of it. That's neither here nor there. That's for another episode. I love y'all, and thank you sincerely for all the birthday wishes. It meant the world to me. For all the researchers out there, you know how I feel about y'all. Y'all are the best. And keep your eye out. Like I said, you know, I've been working on a lot of real special stuff for y'all that I hope you enjoy. Some of y'all are bananas too. That's another fun part of it. Y'all have a good morning.